WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today, Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center. Tony, good to see you, man. How you doing?
I'm well, Seth. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How excited are you for the Bears? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I still don't know exactly where we'll be playing in the future, but it's Arlington, Chicago, or I don't know where else. But I mean, it's looking good so far.
Yep. You got the pieces to have a real nice team. Hopefully that first-year coach can put it all together, and maybe in a few months we're talking about some Bears dubs here. And, some Bears dubs would maybe go a long way for a topic we're going to talk about here this morning, Tony. And I really shouldn't make light of it that way, but it is what it is. June is Men's Mental Health Month. Let's dive into this, Tony, just kind of surface level things. Men and mental health, there's a lot of stigma there. There's a lot of layers to unpack with this. Where do we start this conversation?
Yeah, I probably would start with just the reality that just because you're a man doesn't mean that you are not susceptible to mental health. The stats show that 1 in 5 adults has a diagnosable mental health issue. We also know that life is hard, and it is not a sign of strength of how much that you can handle, but it's a sign of strength of when you can understand when you're under-resourced and be, quite frankly, man enough to reach out for support. We're always teaching somebody and setting an example for somebody, and so I'd much rather set the example that there is strength in collaboration, there's health in community, and really, even the stats show that if we isolate ourselves or we repress things, they actually will exacerbate the very symptoms we are trying to solve.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Such as, I think, the number one thing is, and you kind of touched on it there just a minute ago, is, be a man, don't cry, don't show your emotions, don't be vulnerable. Like you said, suppress it. Nobody needs to know about this. You're the patriarch of the family. You're the rock of the family. This is not how a patriarch or rock is to behave, type of a thing.
Absolutely. I mean, again, if you have loved ones that actually really know you, you're not fooling them by putting on a mask and trying to grit your teeth and grind it out. Quite frankly, you're going to leave them disappointed because they care for you and they want to care for you. And so boxing them out makes it very difficult for communication, for healing. And then you start seeing yourself if you're not addressing your mental health, what does that manifest itself into? Is that potentially trying to numb the pain through medication, substance, or alcohol use? Is that in therapy what we call displacement, where, I had a bad day at work, so I kicked the cat at home. I start, getting short with my spouse. I start socially becoming reclusive. All of these things, we know if we can separate ourselves from them, does not address the issue and doesn't resolve in any healing. It actually just piles on the problem.
Mm-hmm. So you talked about that manifesting piece for a lot of guys. One thing I'm curious about, Tony, what are things men struggle with? Is it anxiety? Is it depression? Is there a cycle where one kind of leads to the next, which leads to the next? And do we kind of stumble down this path of I don't want to say self-destruction, but just not being our best self? What does that look like?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say generally anxiety, depression across both genders are typically the ones that have the highest occurrence rates as far as the mental health issues. I mean, you do have a percentage that has serious and persistent mental health issues like a personality disorder or schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder. Probably talking more generically, at least what I've seen in private practice and what, we see here is Men aren't able to emotionally articulate what's going on. And so if you think about it, and I apologize for the simplicity of it, but I think it holds merit, is if you think about our lives being like a balloon, and all of this negative energy being the air we put into it. If we don't figure out a cathartic way of releasing that, and we don't have a good way to get rid of it, sooner or later, there's going to be an uncontrolled, violent eruption of those stored up emotions. We only have a finite capacity of what we can hold. And so that's why I tell men, talk about it, give it, use your words, find some things that help reduce that stress, because all of those things that you said, Seth, we are running a life that we always are putting our lives up to a ruler or some type of form of measurement that may not be accurate or fair to ourselves. So I'm sitting over at my house, but Seth, I saw his life on social media, and he's got the perfect wife, the perfect kids, awesome boat, awesome vacations. I'm not keeping up. I'm not as manly as him, and I'm a man of faith, and I live my life that Scripture says that we're supposed to run the race that's marked out for us. So. As it was said back in the 90s, stay in your lane. Like, I have a race. It's my race. It's not Seth's race. And I'm going to race it to the best of my ability with the resources that I have. And I'm going to be proud of it because it's my race. It's not his race. It's mine. And that's, I think, the hard thing for men is we're always trying to keep pace with something that may not be accurate.
Well said. Very well said. Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center. Our guest on the Zoom today. We talk June, Men's Mental Health Month. I wonder, Tony, for a lot of men, do they lack the I don't know what the word is, lack the vocabulary, the lingo, do they lack to recognize what's going on, where, maybe they're just scrolling, one of their buddy's spouse's Facebook. It may not even be their buddy is on Facebook. It's their spouse. And they've got all these great pictures of what they did last week when they were on vacation. And you're like, gosh, we've not done something like that in years, or we can only do something like that once every 5, and, maybe that's where you start the comparison piece. I don't know, where do we stand on that?
Yeah, I think that we just haven't had really good models of healthy behavior, of dealing with difficult stuff. And going back to everything we said, we suppress it, we deny it, we project it. But Seth, and I've been in mental health therapy for 25 years, but if somebody invited me to say, hey, you look stressed out, Tony, I think that you should go to a room full of other men, and we're going to, do a sound bath, and we're going to hold each other. That doesn't work for me. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, but it just doesn't work for me. What I have found is that, quite honestly, we have a beautiful asset right next to our community over here at Allerton Park. Going on a walk with my kids or a friend of mine, and just, enjoying nature, enjoying fellowship, enjoying just talking about life, helps normalize some of the stuff and says, well, of course you'd struggle with that. That's a big thing. Or actually, when you start talking about it, he's just about the same spot that I am at. Or just that opportunity to be empathetic with one another, and to be seen and to see others. So that's what I would say. And interestingly enough, I'll pivot just really quick. There's some really cool work that's being done at the Illinois Farm Bureau, because they realize that farmers struggle with mental health significantly, because there's a lot of things that they're worried about that, quite frankly, are outside of their control. Commodity prices, weather, equipment costs, all of this stuff. And so I love my farming community, but we've seen that they're not very good at dealing with their emotions as well. So there's a lot of work being done with social workers in the Illinois Farm Bureau, really talking about stress management, because farmers might not say that they have difficulty regulating their emotions, but everybody, including animals, have stress and need to learn how to stress manage.
Well, and at one point, if I'm not mistaken, agriculture was the number one field of work for suicide. Is that not correct?
It's right up there. And again, you have high stress, low control. We call this focus or loci of control, and you have nowhere to open that balloon. So I can't tell my wife about it because I got to be in control about it. I can't tell my other farmers, because if I'm in a bad spot financially, they might want to buy up my land, or if I'm tenant farming, I can't tell the landowner. And so, as simple as it sounds, I think that we need to start living a more authentic, collaborative, and expressive lifestyle. Those three things would be monumentally, it would make a monumental difference in men's mental health. We talked about it, we were authentic about it, and we were community-based in it.
Collaborative. What was the second one? Collaborative, something, and expressive.
Collaborative, expressive, and authentic. Because I struggle with stuff. I have bad days, and I don't have all the answers.
Yeah.
And I feel inadequate, and I struggle sometimes with my emotions, and I am not always a good dad. I say a lot of stupid things. I'm not a good husband at times, and I don't have to bat. A Major League Baseball player is batting 30%, and they're considered an all-star. I don't have to hit home runs every single time. I just have to be authentic, and I have to be committed to it.
Sure. Tony, on that note, let's take a quick time out and continue the conversation next with Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, on the Zoom with us today. More to come with Tony next.
WHOW.
Looking for a new Silverado? This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. We have a good selection of new Silverado inventory. We have Silverados in 1500s, 2500s, and 3500s with several trim levels, custom, LT, RST, LTZ, and yes, even high countries. All our inventory is priced for our summer savings season. Baum Chevrolet Buick. Together, let's drive. BaumChevroletBuick.com right from the start.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace now offers free assembly and free delivery, so it's never been easier to get a great grill for your family, like a Weber gas grill, a Traeger wood pellet grill, or a Big Green Egg charcoal grill. Only at your neighborhood Ace. Around the block. What you need in stock. With people who know their grills.
This is Brad from Gibson Ace Hardware in Clinton, Illinois. Stop in to see us, the helpful place at 114 North Madison Street, Clinton.
See participating store for details.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Netflix buffering, YouTube spinning, devices not connecting, Zoom calls dropping. Ugh, it's frustrating. Let's end your frustration by signing up for fiber internet in Clinton. Click the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today, Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center. And Tony, I want to dial further in on something you mentioned at the end of the first segment there. As of course, we're talking June being Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. You said we need as men to live a more collaborative, expressive, and authentic life. I don't mean to diminish that, but I call those types of things kind of bumper sticker slogans, right? Like things that are easier said, like it pops in your mind, but how do you execute that? How do you do that? Let's give folks advice on how we live that type of a life.
Yeah, I mean, I think the authentic part's the hardest part, to be honest with you, because that's self-acceptance. And if you go back to your, high school psychology 101, you realize that that's the highest peak of what they call Abraham Maslow's, needs assessment, right? That self-actualization, being okay with who we are. And so, I know this sounds so cheesy, but Seth, you've got to learn how to accept and love yourself first before you can give that away. And that includes loving yourself with all of your faults and quite frankly, understanding that some of your past failures was necessary for you to become the man that you are today. And so we don't try to run from our past. We accept our past. It's part of a growing experience. We understand our failures, and then we try to cut ourselves some slack. Like we are, again, I don't want to go too much in the faith base, but I believe that everybody is designed with a purpose and a plan in their life. I believe that there's no accident, that you were put here on this earth to do some amazing things for your community and for the circle of influence that you have. And so it's determining what that is. Collaborative, we are horrible at having good friends. I'm just gonna say, like, I don't want to call you on the spot, but I'll give it up. I probably have 3 what I would call good friends. I have a lot of associates. I have a lot of people that I'm friendly with, but if my wife and I were having problems, there's probably even 2 of those 3 that I could pick up the phone and call and say, I need help. We'd call those 3 a.m. friends. I think if you don't have that, you need to start developing that. And by developing that, I don't know, it's weird to be an adult and make friends. It's like, you can't come over to my house and play Sega Genesis and have a Dr. Pepper or something. Like, I don't
Speak
know
for
how
yourself,
it looks
Tony.
as a 40-year-old man.
I said, speak for yourself. I still have buddies I get together and play video games with. So
There you go. No,
no.
I love it. I mean, yeah, you can. Maybe that's where we start at 40-year-old men, is be like, hey, you want to come to my house and play some Madden football and do a little bit of trash talking? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, so I think trying to find that good friendship group, that good support group, and then communicative is, quite honestly, I would be remiss if I didn't say everybody would benefit in therapy. Even if you just went to grab some more skills, it doesn't necessarily mean that your life is completely falling apart. All it simply means is that you're gaining more resources to live the most healthiest life you can. Everybody, and I have participated in myself several times. Everybody would benefit from therapy. And if it's not a good experience your first time, switch therapist until it is, because you will find yourself growing with new skills and new language, and it will benefit you. Quite frankly, it'll benefit your family and your community.
I want to wrap up, Tony, with how families and spouses, and particularly spouses, can help men struggling. What are how do they initiate a conversation? How do they do that with compassion? While at the same time not being railroaded by someone who may be expressing their stress, their anxiety in an unhealthy way. Where does that start?
Well, I mean, I've got a lot of one-liners that are stuff like, you can track more with sugar than you can with vinegar. There's the old saying that, it's better to live on the corner of your roof than to live under the house of a nagging woman. I think that if you're a loving spouse, you're going to want to speak with positive regard to the behavior and, quite frankly, the potential of the man that you see. We don't do a very good job of seeing the man that we really are. We're always not enough. We're always incompetent. We're always vulnerable. Maybe I should say that. Like, spouses, realize your men are extremely vulnerable. And you have the power to strengthen them or bury them with your words. And so Speak that positive regard, strengthen those, speak a lot to those behaviors that you see that you want to be repeated, that positive motivation, set appropriate boundaries, enjoy the quality time, learn his love language, whether that's physical touch, which most men, that's what it is, words of affirmation. I guess that physical touch, understand the complexity of what a physical intimate relationship is. It's not just physical. It means so much more to a man than that. It's emotional regulation. It's connectivity. It is secureness. When people are physically intimate with men, it is a validation that the relationship is solid. It's not a means to an end. It's actually the end. Like we have close intimacy. And that's just not a physical thing for us. Gosh, we could probably go like half hour, Seth.
Yeah.
Speak truth, speak love, speak grace.
There you go. Well said, Tony. Good note to end on there. Where do folks go to learn about all things Piatt County Mental Health Center?
Check us out online, piattmhc.org, Facebook, or give me a call, 217-762-5371.
Tony, you're the best, man. Great conversation today.
Appreciate you, my friend. God bless.
Yep. Tony Kirkman, Executive Director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, our guest on the Zoom. The morning show streams too, Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network News comes your way now.
WHOW.